You know how when you are broke, but somehow you're still money to buy food. There's rice at home, but you're craving stir fry. You promised to save, but the shawarma G was calling your name. Welcome back to Life is a Skit, where we're just trying to make it make sense. In this episode, we're talking soft-life budget, the illusion of wealth that comes with living rent-free, how money disappears fast, the shock of real responsibilities, and why some of us are already broke in the second week of May. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to another episode of Life is a Skit. I'm joined by my boy Felix, and I'm also joined by Bolu.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. So today's conversation is actually a very, very interesting one. I mean, depending on how you want to look at it. But just to start off, I'll pose this question to the two of you, right? So what's one thing you always find money for, no matter how broke you are?
I think one of the things that I always find money for, no matter how broke I get, is food. I can't do without eating. As much as I don't eat a lot, I always find the money for food. I can order food. If I'm craving cake and the only money with me is as low as 2K, I am ordering the cake.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing is food, because this week too, I've done the same thing. I bought food, and before I bought the food, the money I used to buy the food wasn't in my account, you know. Like this new restaurant just opened up the place around Bodija. I said, make I go try the food, because it's a new place and people have been talking about it. So I went to try it, and when I saw the bill, the money in my account currently could not carry the bill. So I had to do some things.
Do some magic
to get money into the account. Yeah, I bought the food. It was worth it. I'll do it again soon.
Please, someone that has life that will work, please, let's hit our money.
I've been now. You're talking about small, let's say small luxuries or small pleasures like that we are able to spend money on regardless of how tight things might be. So I think let me just come to Felix, right? Because this first part of the convo is more about how we're able to maybe fund these small pleasures, like I said, small luxuries, right? And I think the both of us, Felix and I, we kind of have similar situations, right? Our lives are still kind of subsidized a bit, if I might say. All right, we're not paying rent. And I think that kind of gives us a spending flexibility. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
By the grace of God.
Felix, how do you feel about that?
The flexibility is it's not absolute, but there are still some certain leisures that I can engage in that I don't have to really put my mind to like that.
But I mean, I know you finished NYC recently, and are you living on your own? What is your living situation like?
I live with family.
Okay, you live with family. So your life is still subsidized a bit now. Yeah, interesting. Do you still have to spend carefully? How is that like for you as well?
In terms of spending carefully, yes, I do. Because you can't live in Lagos and not spend carefully, especially when you don't have a car yet to fit into the lifestyle that you want to live in, and you have to jump bus and all of those things. So steadily every month there's a budget for transport, and you look at it, I'm like, am I working for these transportation people?
But you know the crazy thing, even if you have a car, you still have to budget money for transport.
You know, I was having that conversation too about how it's not really economically reasonable, at least right now, to have a car. Because the amount you spend on fuel.
My car lends me one of his cars to use sometimes, and I'm the one fueling it. And sometimes you spend 20,000 on petrol in 1 week. In 2 weeks, you spend 40,000. That's just half the month already. You spend 40,000. So if one month now, I spent 60K.
Man, that's a lot.
Fueling the car. I don't think I would have spent that much if I was taking public transport. But
I doubt.
Ibadan is different from Lagos in terms of like how expensive transport is.
Yeah.
Like it's still expensive, but I don't think I'd have spent up to 60,000.
Nah, you definitely won't have spent up to that.
You
Half a
won't
month.
have.
Nah. I think, but you're paying for the comfort and the ease of moving around, I guess. Trust
Mm.
me, you know, go this ways like that if you're in your own car.
Ah.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think there's something about let's say the life being subsidized a bit or not being fully, like you don't have to cater for every single thing. It can feel like you have money while you don't.
I
Until
understand
maybe the money.
what you say. Absolutely. For instance, like there's some things that I always used to get like normally before, and then just write it down and send a text message to my dad and all of that. Those things now I'm like, I don't think I should actually be sending these things to my dad. And by the time I calculate it and spend the money, I'm like, girl, you spent a lot. And then you look at your bank balance and you're like, it's all gone. There's nothing there.
Like where you feel like maybe you have money, but I mean, if we look at it, it might not be, it might not be anything, but just because maybe you are not buying food stuff or you're not, I mean, you talked about filling the cash, but like maybe some other things that you might have been paying for, but because you're not paying for those things, it feels like you have money than you actually do. And I think there's now that tendency to maybe blow the money on something. Right. So yeah, any particular time you felt like that, maybe you blew the money on something, then your eyes suddenly opened.
Many times. Like this is just in the second week of May, and I'm already broke. And so one example I'd use is in March, because March was really bad, because I asked you for money. I bought earbuds, Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. I bought them and I also ordered a backpack. And the money I spent on these things, like, I wouldn't normally spend them. I just had this thought that, okay, I have the money, so just go for it. Mm-hmm. And I did, because I wasn't considering other expenses. I just went for it and I saw the consequences of my action. But it was still worth it.
It's always worth it. You're always worth it at the end of it.
Yeah, I make sure I spend my money on something that I actually like.
Because at the end of the day, you just feel bad for yourself. If you don't buy it now, the price keep increasing. The prices will keep increasing. And then you're like, I've gotten it before.
Bolu, I don't know, like how has it been? I mean, sure, you are staying with family and everything, but I think you still have to be in charge of your own expenses, right? Mm-hmm. How do you manage that? Like, how are you able to, beginning of the month or ending of the month, they pay you? Where does the money go?
So basically, I think maybe because of how I grew up, I've always been brought up to have a budget every month. I think those financial awareness stuff. So maybe I get my salary. Even when I was in school, when my dad gives us money, I say pays us money. I just have this book. I write it down. Okay, my spendings, and write everything I think I will need, and leave excess money for maybe some things that just pop up, somebody's birthday that just randomly pops up and you just have to gift the person. And I think one of the most important things that I have learned over the years is that don't underestimate the power of savings. Even if it's very little, I think there's always a particular portion of emergency fund, because you cannot not have emergency fund. Emergency funds and have savings. And now that I've started becoming very financially aware, I've been putting money in investments, and that leaves me feeling like I don't have money. Still goes back to your question, when you think you have money but you don't have money, you know that you have money locked up somewhere, but bro, I can't access it. And yeah, that budget just makes me, and having a budget makes you disciplined at the same time. So okay, when you're going over the board, okay, you can tap yourself and say, girl, we're not getting this now. Let's move it over to the next month. Mm-hmm. And then I now write on another plain sheet and say, okay, for the next month, these are the things that are on my list. Some things are priorities. Some things are I want them, some things are necessity. So you get the ones that are like priority over the ones that you think, oh, I just need, basically.
Hmm. Hmm. See, Bolu has just given us a masterclass on financial.
I don't used to believe in budgeting or saving, especially savings. I just like money gets to me. I spend it on whatever I need to accomplish for that month or for that week or whatever. But this year, I really wanted to be intentional about like my finances. So I locked up some certain amounts of money, and this is May, 5 months into the year, and I've hardly touched that money. Like there's some when I wanted to buy the boards, I touched a bit out of it, but like the money is still intact. It was like a certain percentage, like maybe like 30, 10, 20% out of the money. But like the main bulk of the money is still there. So like I've really learned to save. And if I didn't actually like have savings, I don't think I'd have been able to buy the boards. So
Yeah.
one thing I should look onto now is budgeting. And the way Bolu puts it is actually quite interesting. You know, it's like a
Yeah.
scale of preference.
A scale of preference thing, yeah. I think for me, yeah, you mentioned that emergency fund thing. I think it's something I've always been doing for a while, right? But and I think lately, what goes into all I've been saving, yeah, at least putting stuff behind just in case anything comes up. But the idea of emergency fund just came about maybe like beginning of this year, and my plan was, oh, I put my NYC Alawi into emergency fund. But they no gree pay us now. Nothing the emergency fund for nothing the emergency fund though.
Working
So
for the government for free.
bro, so if anything do me this month like this, I will not see anything shock. But yeah, the whole idea of having something in case anything comes up, right? I think people might be skeptical about the idea of saving because if the interest rate does not meet the rate at which inflation is rising, the saving
Yes,
can
and it's
actually
even harder
be
to save
useless.
now. It's
Mm.
harder to save now because of the economy. Like things
Yeah.
that you could save money, a percentage of your salary before and still be comfortable. But now you don't even save to like keep it for the future. Your money is saving you most times. Your saving is saving you. So my
Real
savings
man.
is not by choice. It's because Piggyverse will just debit me one money and I can't do anything about it if I don't want to lose the money that I've already put there before. So
Next, maybe another thing I would just want to us to look at is like now we are like earning money, right? Before maybe money was coming in from pocket money or people, Samuel, take this. Fira sweets, use it to buy sweet and hair, stuff like that, right? But now we are earning money, and I think you start to realize that there are some parts of the lifestyle before that was solely funded by gifting that cannot be scalable, right? I don't know if you guys have had that kind of realization or reflection.
mhm.
Definitely. Especially
Yeah.
after I graduated, I got a job and my dad was like, he's no longer giving me money.
When you said he wasn't giving any money again, what changes did you think that brought about?
It made me, like I said, this year I decided to take my finances seriously. So there was more conscious thought towards my spending habits.
Is there one in particular maybe you think you realize that you need to like cut back on this?
Yeah, now with the the buying of food, I realized that this is a lifestyle that is not sustainable. I need to
Yeah.
start cooking again.
There's food in the house.
There's rice at home.
You remember,
There's rice at home.
always rice at home.
But what about you? This lifestyle is not sustainable moments.
Have I actually had that yet? I would say yes. I would say no. Because sometimes it's just, I can still fall back on something.
Mm.
I think God has helped me because one thing I know is that God is the biggest financial advisor. So most times I just go
Yeah.
back to God and just tell him, I actually want this thing and I don't know how I'm going to get it. I know I have done that a couple of times and it makes me aware that God actually hears me. So sometimes I just walk or I'm doing something and I just say it in passing to God that God, I need this in. And then the following day, somebody is sending me that exact amount of money. Then I'm like, oh, he's the man. So like, yeah, I haven't like felt that because most time anything that happened to me in this life, I just run back to God. And I know that it tells me no when it feels like I'm actually going overboard. And if it makes a way when it seems like there seems to be no way.
Odd.
But yeah, I get that. I get that. But I think another thing I want us to look at is how, well, you're not living alone, but you're not living with family, right? So what would you say has been your biggest spending shock since maybe earning your own money and like you have to spend your own money on?
I think buying clothes. I never used to buy my clothes myself before, except all those, and it was not my money still. If I even ordered online, it was still not my money. But now, I think once, I think twice, I think thrice, do I really need this dress before I actually now pay for it? And if I don't need it, I'm not paying for it. Like, there are sometimes you just wake up one morning and tell your mom, oh, mommy, I need a dress and blah, blah, blah. Now, God, I go to the market and I'm seeing myself pricing and I'm like, am I gradually turning into an African mother? No.
It's a thing you want to go through.
Honestly. So that's like a big shock. I think last month, March, I went to get a shoe and the prices of shoes, I was like, are you for real? Is that how bad things have gotten? But God will be God. We will never be stranded. That's the biggest thing I know.
Amen.
So yeah, Felix, just come back to you a bit. I think I could pose the same question to you. Is there something, okay, I think you might have told yourself, but is there something you've had to be spending your own money on lately that's been maybe a big surprise?
Yeah, like I said, fueling the car, but that one is major, but this one is like really minor. It's very, you wouldn't really think of it like that as a, like large scale spending, but it's something that has to occur like every month. So before, like soaps, toothbrush, deodorant, my dad would just stock up on it in the house. So when I needed it, I just take it. Even when we were going to school, when we were going to school, I would stock up on stuff with my sister. I follow my sister to the market, and now I do this every month. Like at the end of the month, I go buy these things. And one thing I did last month, just bought like deodorant, like 6.
Yeah,
Like,
both buying on sales. I think that's one thing I've learned.
I bought soap, I bought toothpaste, and I brought toothbrushes where I was, so that I don't have to go to the supermarket again. And I've not even finished one of the sprays I bought. I've not even finished it, and I bought it in like the first week of April. This is May, and there's still 6 more.
Yeah,
waiting to be used. So I don't have to think of that extent for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, buying stuff that at least lasts a bit. Alright, that makes sense. I think now the one thing I'm even thinking about how I'm going to restock up on is perfume. I think I've been using this perfume since like last year. I know it's minor, but like perfume is expensive. So I'm looking for somebody that's going to get perfume. Maybe reach out to an auntie or uncle. But like just something small like that.
Perfumes, I really love my auntie. Last year she got me like 3 or 4, and I've only used 1.
Honestly, and you don't have to think about it
You
for like
you
a
people are
year.
talking of perfumes from last year for me, and I think I finished like 3 bottles before
Maybe I have like, but I rotate between 2, so maybe that's why it has even lasted this long. Yeah, about like spending, right? Yeah, I think for me, let me just give preface to like my own situation, right? I'm staying with my cousin, right? So I'm not paying rent, but I think one thing and also could fall victims to that. Oh, maybe because I'm not handling a lot of the major bills or whatever. It's easy to just, oh, it's my money, I can spend it how I like. But look, I think was that like last month or 2 months ago, or like beginning of this year, she wanted me to. I think the way I'm saying it, she wants me to at least build up that muscle of being responsible for certain things, right? So maybe
Mhm.
now I'm paying for the security, the sanitation, and some other things like that around the house. Like I pay for some of those things, and also we put money together to buy food stuff, right? So it's not just I'm just living. I'm actually also putting money towards some of these things that I probably would if I was staying on my own, right? So I think it's been nice, because it's making me actually think about budgeting a lot more than usual. So now my money is no longer my own again, basically.
Yeah.
It's for the house. So once the month should end like this, almost like the amount of will go you set aside for food stuff, then the bills I also have to pay. Like it's crazy when I started doing it, I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure this is like what most people actually have to do, like set aside money for things they need to sort out. Um, but if anything, Felix, do you feel like, because if my cousin does not do this thing where, okay, she wants me to pick up some of these financial responsibilities, right? I feel like it might have taken me living on my own, which maybe soon, for me to maybe know some of these things. Like if you did not have to spend your money on this thing, you're not gonna know now, right? But yeah, so I don't know. Has maybe still being at home, has it maybe made it a bit harder to build money habits?
Yeah, in a way it has, you will never know until you're out there from away from the shelter of your parents,
Mm,
like now you're experiencing it. But like if you were like at home, let's say if you're in Ibadan or NYC now, you wouldn't know about these things. Your money will just be your money.
yeah,
You're, you're just spending it on things you want to do. There's no financial responsibility put on you. Now there is, and for me, there's sort of is on me too, but it's just something you have to experience. And being at home, like if you were, like my own situation is different, there's some people that are at home, like all the expenses are being handled by their parents.
yeah,
But me, I'm just in my dad's house. It's just the only thing I'm provided, which is shelter. Other expenses you have to share. Like
yeah,
it has, in a way, it has built that habit, but not to a certain extent that would prepare me completely for living alone. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
I
I do.
start living alone now, it's not that I'll be shocked by these things. I'll be able to adjust because of my current situation, but there are still some things I need time to get used to. So for other people now that they don't have this opportunity, quote unquote, when they get out there, they will have to they have to find that balance, a way to adjust. Unless you think and becomes like where you want to live now. Almost everybody wants to live in Lagos now. You cannot manage your finances, build up sustainable habits. You go back to your parents' house.
A real man.
Nobody could come and chase me from there.
Now you won't come out house. I think I read that thing, right? Like if you do not need to leave your parents' house, honestly, you don't to, because even like living on your own, especially when your finances are not stable yet, and maybe they are not even that sustainable enough for that much to get a place on your own. Nobody's chasing you. There's no shame in leaving your parents' house. That's basically what I'm trying to say. But I think you talked about that bad thing about balance, right? And then let's talk about how she budgets and how that's been helping her. I think that balance thing might be the real, let's say the real flex or whatever. That just finding that balance, right? If you are trying to find balance, or how you are finding balance, kind of.
I think that we will never fully know how it feels like to actually handle everything on your own. Because when you're talking, I'm living on my own, you're talking handling light bills, water, rent, getting yourself to eat. Even finding what to eat can be very tasking sometimes.
Yeah.
And staying in, I think I'm staying with family, but I still think about it. Sometimes I just say, do I even actually want to eat and just go to bed? So there are some things that, and some things that you don't just know how to go about them. And everybody's doing life for the first time. So you cannot even say, okay, what has this person done that I can do? Sometimes it might not work for you as it works for them. So
Yeah.
everybody's just figuring it out. So I think, as I would say, it's your turn. You to go through it.
But yeah. I think although sure, like there are some things you have to figure out by being in that situation and like figuring it out in that moment, right? But as much as possible, I still think there are financial habits that you could pick up that will maybe make that transition easier or smoothen that transition, right? So other than that, Sha, what other lessons are you learning from like this current stage in life, right? About money and soft life. I'm trying to fund soft life.
I think for me, I have understood that we live now, but not for now, for the future. So in terms of money, that's why I say it's very early to it's not too early to invest so that your children don't have to come and be telling people the same story that you are saying. Let them, you know, that trust fund kid lifestyle, let them to experience it because of you have already done the work now. So I think investment basically is like the key. No matter how much you save, savings will not give you return on investments like investments will actually do. I
Yeah.
don't know if you get my point. So yeah, that's one thing that I just put in place. Okay, as much as this money is kept somewhere, I know that it's not for now. Let me suffer now so that in the future I can always book that trip to Zanzibar and know that half of the money that I spent is still in my account and I can still, after leaving Zanzibar, travel to Maldives and come back and I'm still living comfortable. I don't know if you get that's by the way, but yeah.
So if financial goals are motivated by this, still the soft life everybody wants to live, Sha. What about you, Felix? What lessons are you also like learning about this current stage in life about money and soft life, Sha?
Yeah, I'm learning about, saving called bill and the thing talk about budgeting, planning your, not just saving, you can be saving and it's not reflecting,
Mm.
planning your finances.
Planning finances. Yeah. I think that makes sense. For me now, yeah, I think it's the idea that your money is not really your money at the end of the day. Well, I mean, part of it is, but most of it isn't. So you have to leave room for that flexibility of things can come up, having emergency funds, right, to fall back on if things come up. And I think even now, as like maybe I get more financial responsibility around the house and everything, cutting back on stuff that maybe I used to do when the cash flow was still there, right? I don't know, there's this idea that I go out a lot. Felix opened with that. At least in Lagos, because maybe there are events to go out for. But I think now I probably have to start cutting back on some of them than before. I did try, I'll be okay. But yeah, I think cutting back on some of them, right? And no, it's not every event you actually have to go for. It's not like I go for everything, but you picking and choosing where the money goes to is part of it. I don't know, is there any other thing that you guys are cutting back on as well?
Cutting back on. I don't think so now. As I told you earlier, I'm still a girly girl.
Lol.
We just said something. She talked about like gifting people, finances and relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
How to reject billing, how to cut billing, things like that. And it's all part of like planning your finances and unexpected things that just come about, especially in relationships.
Why do I feel like there's something there?
I feel like there's something there.
There might be something there. Do you want to go for that?
I don't know how to fix it, you know. There are some, you know, in a relationship, there's no romance without finance. Like they would say. All these things about finances, like how do you, you know, put it in mind? This little expenses from the other person, or like you're thinking of getting something, someone, and it's out of your budget. You know, how do you compare for that?
I think I get what you're touching on, right? I mean, we have a friend Ayo. He says this thing about like it's not play they are doing there. Like you need to have money to be in a relationship and stuff like that. Like sure, what you say might sound extreme, but like I think I kind of get what he means and like what you're trying to touch on, right? Nobody wants to be broke and nobody wants to be with somebody broke, I guess. So as much as maybe even for yourself, but with other people and other relationships, right? It's not like money is
Driving.
what yes, the driving force, right? But it's still something. And I think I like the fact that you brought it up. And as young people that okay, maybe looking into relationships, I don't know, it might be a bit different for guys than it is for girls, right? I feel a lot of guys, I might even include myself, right, think about their finances a bit when they are thinking about maybe relationships, right? So it's something a lot of guys want to figure out to feel comfortable enough. It might not actually matter, right? It might not, but it's just something that I think guys feel.
What I wanted to even say was, it was still in the same line where we talk about you as a young person. For instance, I'm a firstborn and I have 3 siblings, and it's like they don't even want to know that you don't have money. And for my case, I have 2 sisters, and I don't know if you know how a girl's budget is. They just want what they want. So, and that's why when you were talking about like relationship, I think everything is sacrifice, whether it's romantic, whether it's siblings kind of relationship, everything, you just love who you want to love. And if loving them requires you going extra, I think we'll all figure out how that extra will come out. I don't know if you get my point, but it will just pop up. For instance, I don't think I've gone a birthday of my sister without gifting her. Not like I have the money, but the money just comes out. So when they say when you love the person, you will do the most.
Yeah.
That's it. So when it comes to finances and relationships, if you pay too much attention to the person, if you really care about the person, it will come out. And it's not everybody that you gift. There are some people who don't even care about you. And you now want to be stressing yourself over their birthdays, over, don't do that.
Yeah. That's a good point. So I think to round up now, just maybe something light. I would say, I mean, regardless of everything we've talked about, we started off talking about how, like, no matter how broke we are, I'll find money for food, right? So yeah, other than food, Sha, what's one thing that you think you refuse to give up on, even now? Like one thing you still try and accommodate within that your soft life.
For me, as weird as it might sound, I don't think I take care of myself as much as I should. Because in my budget, what I do is I put allowances for people, like gifting people. I know that somebody can just need something, and okay, there is this particular, I said I do like a budget. In my budget, there is a particular stipulated amount for when people like, if somebody needs something. And I think I don't know how it will sound to you guys. I feel very happy and delighted when I can help somebody. So no matter how, as bad as it can be bad, there is always something for someone. And I know they always say that don't give out more than you yourself can undo. I don't understand that phrase yet.
Ha! So they do pass yourself really.
I don't understand that phrase yet. Or maybe because I haven't met people that would take like squeeze out from you and just leave you in the air like that. So
Mm.
I think that is one thing that I always give allowances for, like helping people, as little as it might be.
Spending on my it's like not on food, like buying nice things. Like I buy jerseys. I just started buying jerseys, but like three already, and to add more to my collection. So and it's pricey. Jerseys they're not cheap, but they're not so that expensive. I like to add more to my collection to feel nice. Wear cool stuff and look good. Make I not look like my problems.
Whether you're spending like you have it or saving like your future depends on it, this episode was your reminder that soft life isn't cancelled. You just have to budget it. Shout out to everyone still going through the broke days and figuring it out one debit alert at a time. Remember, new episodes drop every other Monday, so don't forget to follow, rate, and share this episode with that one friend who needs to hear that there is rice at home. Till next time, stay soft and enjoy the skits.